But yeah, give us that. Give us some facts and caps, buddy.
Yeah. You on your first date with a girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or the girl's on the first date. Is it appropriate to ask the girl, what's your relationship like with your father on the first date? Facts and cap. Is that an appropriate question?
I'm gonna say cap.
I'm gonna say cap. I got my
Explain it.
I'm gonna say cap just because you're diving deep and you don't know this person, and let's say that she does it and say that's a trigger for you to even ask her that because
That's a couple of essays, but keep going.
So for you, maybe that's what you wanted to know, and maybe that's like I'm out.
No, okay. Let me rephrase.
But
that why would you ask that question if it's not a trigger? Keep going.
you said why would you ask?
No, I was answering myself.
Oh, okay. So I'm saying like that could be a trigger for her. And my thing is, you're on the first date, right? You saying you might have lost you a good relationship, a good person, just because you're asking those type of questions. Like I feel like that's not your place to ask that yet. Later on, like you don't have to ask those type of questions. Once a person, if you really fuck with them, and once you get their trust, they'll open up to you, and you can figure, and then you take it from there. You know what I'm saying? But
patience is the key.
Yeah, like I mean, I just like the same way I asked the question right before. Like, are you can a girl ask like, what's your wage? And we was like, no. Then what? I feel like it's more appropriate for you to ask her what she does or her wage or whatever than you are to ask her about her relationship with her father on the first date.
I can't be capped now because I answered that question.
I just feel like that's a little too personal, buddy. Unless it goes there on the first date.
I just feel like it's like 155 more questions I'm gonna ask you before I get to that one.
Yeah, because then it's like, what? So what does that mean when you're asking that? It comes off kind of like,
hey, if you got any issues, I'm out.
Yeah, it kind of comes off arrogant. Like, what's your relationship with your father?
I understand that. That's a fact. Maybe it's the delivery. So y'all having a conversation. Be like, okay, I know this is weird.
You ask me interview questions.
I'm the guy. This is weird, girl.
Oh, you trying to hire her more, aren't you?
So I'm just like,
ain't no second.
I was like, so we've been having a good time. So throw it out left field. What's your relationship like with your father?
See, this is
what I'm gonna do.
And this is why the delivery is wrong. And this is why delivery is wrong. You should have been like, tell me about yourself, where you come from. Tell me something about your parents, how your relationship with your parents. That's acceptable. That's how you ask it. You're coming off kind of real authoritative and arrogant and kind of cocky, just like, what's your relationship with your father? No, there's ways to get that. Not just like I said when I said about the wage. Ask a nigga, hey, what do you do for a living?
So if that's the case, then you can ask it on the first date. According to you.
I'm just going off the
I'm just going to you. If you say
I'm going off the way that you said it.
If you ask it the way you said it is appropriate.
Yes.
Then it means you can ask that question now.
Not really. Because it's not the same question. What I'm saying is you have to fill out who you're on the date with. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is that is it's a common question to ask somebody, tell me about yourself. How you know what's going on, like, tell me about your parents, everything. That
I interpret that.
Triggering, no. What I'm saying is if I ask you straight out, flat out, how's your relationship with your father? It comes off different. There's you can ask the same question
in
different ways.
So the specific question is a little bit much.
Yes.
You gotta wiggle around.
Be smarter. Be a little bit more creative when you asking these questions. You know what I mean?
Interesting. I don't know. I feel like depending on where the conversation is going, you can ask that question.
That's true.
Depending on where the conversation is going.
Maybe, or like say if you
offered a good time.
Let's say you offered
she asks you a random question like, alright, so I'm gonna ask you, what's the wildest shit you ever did? And you like, okay, we having fun.
Yeah.
I'm gonna follow up with the daddy question.
But that's a read the room, really read the room
question.
Really read the room. Because 9 times out of 10, you asking it, especially if it's like that, the way in my head, I'm thinking like, you kind of out of bounds, buddy.
Alright, so next question. Facts or cap? Should social media be censored?
I'm gonna say cap only because it wouldn't have the same effect than what it is. Like, I feel like people would have too many opinions or too hands-on to be able to speak and say whatever they want, but that's what social media is about. So if you can't have that in social media, then there's no point. Like if you censor it, then it's just gonna take away from what social media
So
is.
Twitter, to follow up what you're saying before dropping you go, Twitter is basically email. If you have an email, you have access to Twitter, right? And email is no age limit. So I got on Twitter one day. On my timeline, somebody retweeted somebody getting their head blown off.
That's what I was.
Okay, when you say censor like that, I thought about as far as what you say. When you talk about censor,
Censor.
yes. Yes.
So you believe Twitter should be censored?
Just like how Instagram like has that sensitive photo type thing. Like I think it should have something over there to let you
Yeah,
know,
I
like,
can agree with
hey,
that.
like
That
give you a
aspect.
heads up, like, hey, you might not want to see this, but just know.
So
it's sensitive
censorship.
content.
So you feel like it should be a warning,
Yes.
but not
Not all the way censored.
not all the way. Can't be
Okay, yeah.
be. So a warning what you say.
Yeah. Or like let you know, hey, you about to see or read some shit. Just a heads up.
I don't know if you can
Justin?
censor necessarily like what they say before you see it, but definitely like how you said, if it's just a video,
Doing it now.
yeah, I was gonna say there should be because I don't like getting on the timeline seeing him getting his brains blown out, but at the same time, then we wouldn't have like the George Floyds, the things that like show
That's
wake
true.
people up. So I think he's correct to where it should be some kind of warning on there. Maybe even if you do want to get rid of some videos like that, because if you're just putting it up for kind of like just like, oh look, the mob caught a nigga who stole their, laundered some money. We don't need to see that. But then that's when you kind of turn into you gotta have that rule for everybody. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I definitely think that he's right. You should just put like a censor on it, like
And
sensitive
anything you
content.
feel is mature, just put
Yeah.
a warning.
Yeah, or maybe
So that-
if there's some
but-
way
but
you
not-
can put like
not-
a certain age group sees this type of stuff, maybe.
But not a full on ban over what you can say or what you cannot say.
Yeah.
Just a preview of saying, hey, this is sensitive material.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think so.
That's it. Okay. I mean, I could get that, but it's slippery slope.
Yeah.
Slippery slope. Fact or cap? Is it better to have kids after marrying, or does it matter?
Whenever God says, yeah.
Let Justin go. So, just for context, I don't have a child. I'm engaged. Brandon has a child before. He's married now. Justin has a child out of wedlock.
Yeah.
With somebody he's
That's somebody he's currently with.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
until you pay.
I think that's kind of like one of those situations where like,
case by case.
yeah, because if it's like,
But if we say if we're doing a mathematical study, right? And maybe you might be the exception to the rule.
mhm.
You might be the exception to the rule, but you be like, I'm special. I wouldn't advise people to do it the way I do, or I would, or it doesn't matter.
I don't think
Do whatever is right for you.
Okay, so
In general,
I just think that
Fact
it
or cap?
depends on. I
because
think
that's what we. It's
cap.
what we
I guess
all-
I would say cap because I just feel like it just depends on your relationship, what you know, like what you're working on, what you know. Like if you're in a relationship where it's rocky and it's not working out, and that happens, then yeah, that probably is. You know what I'm saying? Like say y'all already have issues that you to where it's like
maybe they ain't
we
gonna
shouldn't
make
be
the
having
relationship
a
better.
yeah, like we shouldn't be having a child. Then no, I don't think that you. I think you should wait, and maybe y'all should work on y'all. And if you get married, then
So you're
like
saying it's cap. It don't make a difference whether you're
I-
married.
It depends on your relationship. Because you could be in a rocky relationship and you think, a rocky marriage.
yeah,
You think
like,
a kid is what's gonna make it
Yeah,
better.
like,
that
it's
shit can make it worse.
it's multiple scenarios. Like there's people who.
What about on average?
I mean, I don't know.
From your opinion,
From my opinion.
on average,
It's really-
if you had a room for 100 people, would you give the same advice to 100 people?
Yes. Only because it depends on your relationship.
That would be my solid advice. I'd be like, look, I would tell them, look, if you know what I'm saying, you feel that y'all are in a great space, and maybe that's what y'all are working on, but maybe she wants a child right now, or maybe y'all want to work on having a child. Go for it.
So I'm gonna be honest. Before my ideology was like, before I move in with a girl, I need to be engaged. That didn't happen. I moved with a girl before I was engaged. So like, you don't know till you know. From what I've seen though, from people tell me, from the experience I have, from people tell me, they say it's better to have kids later. That's what I hear.
But okay,
Let me go, bro.
Go ahead.
They say it's better to have kids later. I'd be asking why. It's like because you're more mature and you have more idea on life. You have more understanding of what you have. So drawing all the conclusions, I would assume it's better to have kids after marriage, just simply because we have so many cases of kids out of wedlock with single parent homes, right? That happiness. I'm not even gonna pretend like people. You deal with shit. You have to be, you're not happy. You deal with your responsibility. I'm assuming that's in the 50s, the 60s, the 70s. Now people are more focused on their happiness, their self-worth, their self-thing. Everybody's more self, and that explains the climate of this society we in. So I feel like personally, if you're a deal for the bearing of the child, you should definitely have a kid after marriage.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
That's cool and all. Like, I would never not tell somebody, not to, don't wait till marriage. Like, yeah, my ideal would be to do it more traditionally, but I think what you first initially said is kind of more important than even marriage. Like, when you talking about financially being straight,
Self-worth,
mature, that's the more important part of the situation.
and marriage doesn't necessarily mean that.
Yeah,
That's a
exactly.
fact.
People get married young
Some people get
and
married
have
too early.
babies.
That's a fact.
Yeah,
That's
you know
a
what I'm
fact.
saying?
That's a
So
fact.
I think that's the more important. Like, are you ready? Like, are you comfortable enough? Are you willing to make the sacrifices that Hold on, y'all. Callie's calling.
Another from the daughter.
Hey, he's saying talking. What's up? I'm shooting the podcast. Where you at?
I love that.
What you doing? Huh? Facts and Cap
Some prime
podcast.
example from when it goes against everything I said. It doesn't matter as long as you love your child.
Yeah.
What else matters?
Bae, say hi to the people.
Because I would give a leverage.
Alright, I'll be home in like
Where you
30
at?
minutes, okay?
What you doing
Bye bye.
before or after marriage? That's love.
But yeah.
That call changed my answer just like that.
But yeah, I just
Sorry.
put it like I said.
He planned it.
I ain't know
You
this
planned
question
it.
was coming, bro.
He planned it.
Yeah, I just think that's just all it is. Like, just where you at in life.
Come on.
I think it's just where you at in life.
No.
So keep it at that. You know what I'm saying?
I got a good one for you, man. Facts or cap? This is my last one. Should there be a statute of limitations on rape? Or not? Facts or cap?
Cap. No. Switching up facts.
There should be.
There should be.
Go ahead.
No.
No.
Rape is rape. That's all-
Get it together. Get it together.
The facts and the cap. I'm trying to think. No. I feel like rape is worse than murder.
Okay, so there should not be a statute of limitations.
Yeah.
You can wait 100 years and say, he raped me.
Yup. I think you can. I just think you should
But
be.
you better have
but
proof.
yeah, I just think that there should be. I just don't think you should go to jail based off of.
Time out.
You can't just say,
Right.
he raped me.
That's what, but do you realize how hard proof is 50 years later, and
Okay,
then
so
5 days later,
listen,
or 5 weeks later?
Listen.
I feel like
I would advise you.
You just said,
Okay, if you got raped.
respond to what he said.
I agree
You
with him.
better,
I
you
am.
better have your proof.
Yeah, I'm putting it like
People
this.
make that known.
If you're listen, I know it kind of comes off insensitive, but we gotta think logically here. I get it. Let's say now, I kind of feel for you. Let's say if you were a kid You know what I'm saying? And you got raped by your uncle or some shit. I understand why you may not have spoke up or whatever the case may be, but if you want to come 10 years later and be like, you know what, I want to charge him, just know that there's a risk that you're taking that it could just completely be a waste of time because they can't just arrest you off the strength of your word. But there has been times where people have came and maybe they're able to prove it. Maybe the uncle sent the text. Maybe the uncle, you know what I'm saying? Maybe somebody else, or you know what I mean? So I wouldn't just say, oh, after 7 years, you can't do that. Or maybe they might find man, I watch too much SVU for this shit. It might be a situation where you might have spoke out and then the next person that he raped has proof. The person that he raped last week. So now y'all can work on that together. Like there's different scenarios that factor in with you speaking up maybe years later. You know what I'm saying?
To speak on that, there are also different scenarios where people who never was raped 50 years later see somebody with money and say, oh, I had sexual dealings with him and he raped me.
That's
Yeah,
so
and
we
that's
gotta have proof.
so that's where the system would fail you.
But what I'm saying is, he said you gotta have the proof. You can't have a proof 50 years later. What proof you have?
So that's what we're saying though. We're saying if you come out and you accuse this man and he didn't do it, maybe you're just talking because he had money. Well then, I'm sorry that you have to go through this. That you might have to go to court or whatever it may be. But
because I believe that's what statute of limitations is there for. It's saying after a certain amount of time, if you're not gonna say it, then leave it.
I just think that's dangerous. I don't really, like how common is it that a person says that you raped me 50 years ago?
I don't know.
It's not
Stockholm syndrome. We would need an expert.
I'm just saying we don't. I'm
gonna be real. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the limit is on statute, but there's a law. There's statute of limitations on rape.
I'll put it like this. I just put it like this. We gotta understand.
I may not agree, but I understand.
We gotta understand.
I don't agree, but I understand why there is.
Because like
I just
50
think
years later, and they make them say I got raped.
I just think that, but see, I think that that's a small percentage. Like, how often does that really happen? You know what I'm saying? 50 years, like, yeah, that sounds like a really fucked up situation.
So,
it is.
So y'all feel.
But the percentages of that happening 50 years later is
you can wait
very
75 years later and say that person raped
You
me.
have some type of proof.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Listen, you can come and you can accuse me.
If it has 0%
Well, then the DA's just not going to press any charges. The DA's not going to press charges. That's just what it is. So, with the trial, I would tell you, if I'm your lawyer and you come to me talking about 75 years later, I'm going to be like, look, I feel for you, and maybe that has affected the way that your life has been going, and I'm just letting you know that there's a 99% chance that this case is being thrown out.
Then there should be then. The reason why I say that is because if I did get raped and there's a certain year that'd be like after a while nobody will believe you based on evidence, based on proof, like accountability, then it would encourage somebody to.
But okay,
let me finish. It would encourage somebody to be like, okay, I didn't want to do it before, but I know I can't do it now.
Okay, but look how you looking at it. You can also look at it like, what if maybe 40 years later I do have proof, but then there's a statute of limitations saying that I can't do it. But he's rubbing it in my face like, yeah, I raped you, and what, bitch? That was 40 years ago. 38 years is the limitation. You looking at it one side. Y'all look at it both sides, and that's what you gonna do.
So I would say statute of limitations for Branson unless you have proof. That's
just why you don't have the statute of limitation.
No, but if you have evidence.
We're gonna be
statute of limitations if you don't have evidence.
Nobody's picking up your case if you come back 40 years later and there's no evidence. They're not even gonna waste their time, their money, and their resources.
They don't have a rap sheet.
Yes.
All they got is a speaking.
That's just what it is. That's just the honest to God truth. Like, I feel for you, but they're not gonna pick that case up. They're not gonna waste their time and money.
Does it even matter if statute of limitations?
It matters in certain cases. It just doesn't. Just know that the longer that you go,
I would say statute of limitations unless you have evidence. Just encourage people to call out, speak up earlier.
I mean, sure.
Just encourage people to
feel like you're ready.
Sure.
I
mean, I don't really feel like there's a difference. You know what I'm saying? Like either way, because I just feel like even if you saying if you have evidence, because if you don't have evidence, the case isn't happening. Period. Anyway, they're probably not even gonna pick the nigga up. If they do have it, then you're getting arrested. So really, like, what's the difference? Like, you know, I don't really feel like there's a difference. You know what I'm saying? So there we have it. Facts and Cap episode motherfucking 17, baby.
Here.
Hold it down, block.